On the edge of a sparkling blue pond in Sunny Meadow Farm lived two little ducklings named Dippy the Duckling and Puddle the Duckling. They were best friends from the day they hatched. They ate together, waddled together, and chased butterflies together through the tall green grass. Wherever Dippy went, Puddle followed close behind. But there was one big difference between them. Dippy loved water. Puddle was terrified of it. Every morning, Mother Duck led the ducklings to the pond for swimming lessons. Dippy happily jumped into the water with a loud splash. "Whee!" he quacked, but Puddle stayed far away from the edge, shivering nervously. "What if I sink?" he whispered. "You are a duck." Dippy laughed kindly. "Ducks float." But Puddle shook his tiny yellow head. "I can't do it." Mother Duck never forced him. "You will swim when you are ready," she said gently. Still, Puddle felt sad whenever he watched the other ducklings gliding across the pond. He wanted to join them, but fear held his little feet still. One sunny afternoon, Dippy waddled over beside his friend. "Don't worry," he said. "I'll help you learn." Puddle looked unsure. "Really? Of course. Best friends help each other." The next morning, Dippy came up with his first idea. "We'll start small," he announced proudly. He found a tiny puddle left by the rain. "See? This isn't scary at all." Puddle carefully dipped one foot into the puddle. Splash. Nothing bad happened. Then he dipped the other foot. Soon, he was standing in the tiny puddle. Dippy clapped his wings excitedly. "You did it!" Puddle smiled a little. Maybe water was not so terrible after all. The following day, Dippy tried another idea. He brought a large green leaf and placed it on the shallow edge of the pond. "You can sit on this leaf boat," he explained. "Your feet won't even touch the water." Puddle carefully climbed onto the leaf, while Dippy gently pushed him through the shallow water. At first, Puddle trembled, but after a while, he noticed how calm and cool the pond felt. Dragonflies buzzed nearby. Fish swam beneath the clear water. The breeze smelled fresh and sweet. "This is nice," Puddle admitted softly. "I told you," Dippy grinned. But the moment the leaf tipped slightly, Puddle squealed and jumped back to shore. "Nope, too scary." Dippy frowned thoughtfully. We need another plan." That evening, Dippy asked the wisest animal on the farm for advice. Grandpa Turtle listened carefully. "Fear disappears little by little," Grandpa Turtle said slowly. "Do not rush your friend. Give him courage one tiny step at a time." Dippy thanked him and hurried back. The next morning, he gathered colorful pebbles from around the pond. "What are those for?" Puddle asked. "A game," Dippy said. He placed the pebbles in a line leading into the shallow water. "The goal is simple. Step on each pebble." Puddle hesitated. Then he stepped onto the first pebble, then the second, then the third. Soon his feet were touching the shallow water near the edge of the pond. "You're doing amazing," Dippy cheered. Puddle felt proud, but then a fish suddenly splashed nearby. "Ah!" cried Puddle. He ran straight back to dry land again. Dippy sighed, but he did not give up. "You'll get there," he promised. Days passed. Every day, Dippy tried something new. Sometimes they played near the water. Sometimes they floated sticks across the pond. Sometimes Dippy simply sat beside Puddle and talked while tiny waves touched their feet. Slowly, Puddle stopped feeling terrified. One afternoon, dark clouds filled the sky. Rain began pouring heavily over Sunny Meadow Farm. Thunder rumbled loudly. Mother Duck gathered the ducklings quickly. "Everyone stay close," she called. The rainwater rushed down the hills and flowed toward the pond. Tiny streams formed everywhere. As the ducklings hurried home, Dippy suddenly slipped into a muddy ditch filled with water. "Help!" he cried. The current pushed him farther away. Puddle froze in fear. The ditch looked deep and fast. His heart pounded wildly. He saw Dippy struggling. His best friend needed him. Without thinking anymore, Puddle jumped into the water. Splash! Without thinking, Puddle jumped. Splash! He panicked. His feet kicked wildly. He paddled his feet harder. To his amazement, his body moved smoothly through the water. Using all his strength, Puddle swam toward Dippy. "Grab my wing," he shouted. Dippy held on tightly, while Puddle paddled back toward the grass. With one final kick, both ducklings reached dry land safely. Mother Duck rushed over proudly. "You were very brave, Puddle." The other ducklings cheered loudly. "You can swim!" Puddle blinked in surprise. "I really can." Dippy laughed happily. "I knew you could all along." From that day onward, Puddle became more confident in the water. At first, he only swam near the edge. Then he swam farther and farther each day. Soon, the two best friends raced across the pond together every morning, splashing, diving, quacking happily under the warm sunshine. One evening, while the sky turned orange and pink, Puddle smiled at Dippy. "Thank you for never giving up on me." Dippy bumped his wing gently. "That's what friends do." Nearby, Grandpa Turtle nodded wisely from the shore. Fear had not disappeared in one moment. It had disappeared one tiny step at a time. And because of patience, kindness, and friendship, the little duckling who once feared water had finally learned to swim. Moral of the story: true friends encourage us patiently and help us overcome